Hi, Carrie. Thank you for talking to me today about closing the distance. How are you doing?
I am doing great. I'm excited about our conversation today.
Me too. I wanted to talk to you today and ask you some questions about serving at RPC, our mission and our mission partners. There's so many amazing ways that we are serving and giving and participating in our community, but also globally. And so I wanted to see if there was a story that really stands out to you about the Roswell Prez's way of, engaging in mission in our community or globally.
Yes, I'm so excited that you asked that question. Um, and I am going to do my best to answer it with just a few things because there's so many ways that RPC, not just now, but as you said, historically has been part of the community in Roswell, but also globally. And especially as we've been talking in this generosity season that we're in, I've been thinking about how incredibly generous I have seen the RPC um, church family be. Not, of course, with offerings and tithes, but also just their very selves, just wanting to be in the community, to develop relationships, to figure out where we can serve and love our neighbors like God calls us to. And so one story that sticks out is the Children's Development Academy. So back in the 60s, um, there were some women in the church that, not women in the church, women in the community that knew that there were children that were malnourished, that weren't receiving education, and they wanted to do something about it. And so they kind of thought, well, let's start a free childcare and let's put this into action. And that ended up turning into the CDA, what is now the CDA, which is an incredible early childhood school, early childhood education school that has high quality education at costs that people can afford. But RPC has been involved from the very beginning. So those women were looking for a place to house students. Where can we make a school? And so they called Cy Mallard, who was the pastor at the time, and they asked him if they could use some of their Sunday school classrooms, and he said, and this is good Presbyterian polity. Well, I'm going to have to ask the session because, of course, we know the session is the governing body of the church, and so he said, I'm going to have to ask the session, and he hangs up the phone and he thinks about it and he picks the phone back up and he calls the women and he says, I'm going to assume our session has read the Bible and you can have your school here. And of course the session was so ready to get on board with that. And then the CDA has really flourished from there. And in fact, their playground is now named after Cy Mallard. So it's pretty cool.
That's
Um,
incredible.
yeah, so that and there's a mallard flock that you can join to support the CDA. So anyway, it's a really a cool thing, and I think that that just is really the heart of who we are, just wanting to love our neighbors, love our community in any way that we can. And then I think too, you asked about globally, about 20 or so years ago, we met Zablon, and folks are listening that haven't met Zablon or don't know his story. Just real shortly, he lived in Kenya, came here to go to seminary um, in the States, and ended up living in the apartments across the street from the church and got to know RPC and became a member and then became on staff. And um, but also is really passionate about where he's from and helping those where he's from. And the church said to him, "Hey, can we help you?" The session said, can we help you? And we've got $500. Could that be used for anything? He said, yes. And that $500 for what ended up being a Christmas party for children in Kenya ended up turning into an incredible partnership and then ministry with what is now Rockbridge Ministries, which is Zablin is in Kenya now, living there, and the ministries that are happening there are incredible. And just that in and of itself, going this summer, I was able to see um, how much has happened since we've been there, and how much is still happening, but also kind of the fingerprints of RPC through that.
Wow. That really reminds me of Jeff's sermon this Sunday of the hands up to handshakes. And
Mhm.
both of those partners, like we are so invested in and have relationships with, and the mutuality of that, and seeing how our little bits of faithfulness we're able to like go beyond our wildest dreams. It's just incredible, Carrie.
And on that note, I was going to say this is something that is just a perfect example of that. It's partnerships, and so certainly we financially support folks, but it's mutual relationships. And for example, last year at the CDA, um, our last year our preschool's AC broke the first week of school. That was unfortunate with little babies that are coming in, and it's hot, and that's not good. But as you can imagine, we're getting fans in there, but the fans really need to be safe for little fingers. And the CDA is equipped with these fans. They've got anyway in every classroom, so they let us borrow all the fans for our classrooms. And then they were having a lunch for dear ones to come in. It was going to be a soup lunch, but the pots that they ordered didn't come in time. And so Cassidy, their director, called and was like, "Can we borrow pots from your kitchen?" And I said, "Absolutely." So even, to the smallest details of just caring for one another, and loving each other. It's really fantastic to be part of.
It really is. And I mean, on that, I got to meet Zebulon, and next time I see him, I need to thank him because he actually um, kind of helped bring us some of our new members who
Yeah.
they like one of the mothers knew him from Kenya. And I mean, she walked in and was like, "What? Um, this is my place. This is my faith family." So
Yep.
there's just God works in mysterious and amazing ways.
It's so true. I actually saw that particular church member, and before we went, she was so excited we were going to get to visit Nakuru, where she was from, and it was so cool to be able to talk about that with her too when we got back.
So good. Another thing I think we talked a little bit about it in our worship service on Sunday, but a thing that I honestly have always known about since I was here, but not until this year have I gotten involved is RPV, or Roswell Presbyterian Volunteers. Could you share a little bit about that? Because I honestly think it is both one of the easiest ways to serve and one of the best ways to experience intergenerational fellowship. So tell us.
Yes. So RPVs are fairly new the past few years. So Roswell Presbyterian Volunteers, and it's really just many different opportunities to help our mission partners or groups in the community that need it. And so it's really an invitation to everyone to join these. And so we've been intentional about doing RPVs on the most first Wednesdays of the month during the school year. During our Wednesday evening program for kids and youth, Encore, we have our elementary age children that they meet on Wednesday nights, and then our middle schoolers also meet for Eat, Pray, Serve. And then we invite anyone else who wants to participate that first Wednesday of the month to come do a project with us to serve our community. And so it has been incredible. We take time. We've got dinner that people can choose to have. You can come and do dinner, but you can also just come for the service opportunity. But we make sandwiches for the Sandwich Project. We talked about that on Sunday in worship, where that's a group that came, I believe, out of COVID, where there are folks that, you know, food were food insecure. And so making sandwiches that folks could pick up, like hearty sandwiches. And so we have kindergarten through eighth graders, and then anyone who else who wants to come. So we have high schoolers, we have grandparents, we have adults come and participate. So we do the sandwich project. We work with Act Together Ministries, which is a ministry that one of our church members started before they became a member, but they serve folks in foster care, and so they make. We help make Christmas stockings for some of those children, and also Easter baskets in the spring. So it's a really incredible way to serve with your church family, and have folks that are um, on all different ages and stages of life. And kindergartners can make a mean sandwich, and
True.
it's really beautiful. And we talk with them about these are for our neighbors, and we never, when we need help, we rely on our community to help us, and so that's what we're doing too. And we talk about saying prayers while we're saying a prayer for whoever's going to eat this sandwich, that it would be just what they need. And so it's really amazing, and I really think it's just a powerful way to be able to serve, and it's a real tangible way too for folks to serve alongside one another. I will say that we are expanding our PVs. It's really, there's just lots of opportunities. And so it's not just Wednesdays. We have groups that say, we want to do something. And so our mission team helps connect them with a place that they can volunteer. And we are counting all of those as RPVs. So we've got a group that's going to go over to Homestretch one Saturday and help. We have a group that is, well, actually another group, our young family fellowship. Is that what we're called? Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Young
Young
family
Family
fellowship.
Fellowship Group. Yay.
They're going to do an RPV during the summer. Our RPV team worked with some of our youth to do some projects there. So it doesn't have to be just on a Wednesday night. Groups can do them as well, but the whole church ones are on those Wednesdays, and they're really cool to be part of.
That's really good to know. So I see it. So RPV is kind of this umbrella where you like if someone is listening to this and they're like, I want to serve, we have a lot of mission partners, a lot of things going on. I don't know where to start. It's kind of a good group to get in and hear the need
Yeah,
and be able to act and get involved.
absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
Um, I think my favorite RPV moment was I will not say the child's name, but there was one of my sweet little elementary schoolers there, and
Mhm.
she was like, "I just don't get how making a sandwich is anything to do with Jesus and the Bible. I thought this was Bible time." And I was like, my, you came to the right line." And so we had this really wonderful conversation about how Jesus fed his neighbors, he fed the
Yeah.
hungry, and also how the Bible, through the whole thing, talks about loving God through loving neighbor. And so
Mhm.
I like to think, maybe the next Wednesday she shows up, she'll be excited about it and see how it all shapes her faith and puts her faith into action. So it was a really fun conversation.
I love that. That's awesome. We've also recently been having our middle schoolers that are there for Eat, Pray, Serve come in intentionally with our kindergartners, first and second graders to be partners and making the sandwiches or whatever it is that we're working on. And that has also been one of my favorite things to see. The middle schoolers are stepping up as leaders and partnering with our little ones, and it's just such a cool um, opportunity and thing to witness.
Yeah, and those relationships go so much or go so far beyond those times together and
Yes.
seeing each other and looking out for each other and being a family of faith outside of just
Mhm.
Sundays. So
Yep.
good. Well, I wanted
Yeah.
to end us by talking about this amazing initiative of Serve 365. Could you just share more about what that is and how people can even share their stories of
Yes.
service inside and outside the church?
Mhm. Yes, we're really excited about this. So, one of the things that is hard at RPC and missions is that we do a lot. There's just a whole lot of folks that we serve, and there's a lot that's being done throughout the congregation. I don't even mean just the mission team, that it can be hard to know what's going on. But also, it's such a part of who we are, and we want everybody to be part of that. And we know that Jesus calls us to serve. We know that, um, you know, even it says in scripture, even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and give his life as ransom for many. And so we want to, model what Jesus taught. And so we are wanting for the next, well, it started in August for then 365 days, because that's kind of our how we do our calendar year at RPC is our summer, our kickoff for the fall and then all the way through summer. So that 365 days, what we are encouraging and wanting everyone to do is find one place to serve in the church or outside of the church. We love folks to serve with our mission partners. So if it's an RPV or something like that, we want folks to find an opportunity to serve. It could also be teaching Sunday school. That's another way. So in or outside, but we really want folks to find an area that they can serve in, and then we want to hear about it because, I mean, as staff, you and I, we see what we see, but we don't hear everybody's stories, and we want to really share what's happening. Through everybody's eyes. What are they seeing? What other moments have folks had, like you just had or like I just shared? And so we want to know how folks are serving and then how they've seen God through that or seen God work through that. And so we are encouraging folks to send their stories of service to serve365 at roswellpres.org. It's an email. And just, it doesn't have to be long. It can be, a few sentences. It can be long if you want it to be, but share these stories. And then our goal is to share them throughout the year in various places in worship, on our mission blog, so that we can really see what God is doing, but also encourage one another to serve and love others like God loves us. And so that's what the initiative is. And we've been able to share. Last week we shared a story about our e-card ministry where we've got folks that are praying for everyone on the prayer list weekly, and they're sending e-cards and birthday cards to folks that might not be able to receive them otherwise. And this Sunday we heard a student share about RPVs and eat pray serve and what that's meant. So we want to share those stories out. And I'm hoping too that we can, it's something that while we all might be serving in different places, we can come together around this initiative that no matter what it is, we're going to serve. And that's just part of our culture at RPC. And then share those stories, and maybe people will hear about things they didn't even know were happening and might be
Right.
something they want to get involved with.
That's so good. Yeah, I mean, even as like the e-card ministry, you don't even have to be in the building to do that. Like, there's so many ways that people can participate and serve and, kind of be all hands on deck, in this church, and so, I look forward to hearing people's stories and, um, seeing how God is at work among us.
Yeah, it really it's been amazing too to hear some of these stories, some that I knew about, some that I didn't, and it's just I'm in awe of how God is at work. So it's pretty amazing.
Thank you. Well, thank you for telling us all about what is going on in mission and in service at RPC. So thank you, the Reverend Carrie Weatherford.
Well, thank you, the Reverend Morgan Bird. And I want to highlight, because I don't think you are going to do this, that you are preaching this Sunday,
True.
continuing our generosity series. Can you give us just a little snippet of of maybe where we're going or even the scripture?
Okay, we are gonna be looking at Acts 2. I will not spoil the content, but I will tell you that a little spoiler is there may be something about aliens.
Okay.
A surprise. So
That
now I'll
will be a
know who
surprise.
listened to Closing the Distance because 'cause they're like, "Where are the aliens?"
Yeah,
So
if they're not there, then but at least they were
we'll
listening. I love
just
it.
have to
We're
see.
so looking forward to hearing that on Sunday.
Thank you, and thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Bye.